Hello, everyone. Technical issues today, and I can even see like I'm getting error messages across the storm. So if you can hear us, put your messages in comments, please, because I don't know what is happening today. It sure is a Monday. I love when we start on a Monday. For everyone just listening, I'm not doing my general intro video because it's not working for us. So I'm just going to go right into it. So hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittany Ashley, and we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour as we break norms and build dreams with Deb today. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be so much fun. So much fun. And we're going to work with it, right? Because that's what it's, I mean, that's what it is, right? That's what it is.
Absolutely. I just did a podcast, like pre-recorded, and Kelly was like, "How do you do it?" And I was like, "It keeps you on your feet. The dopamine hits for an ADHD person."
Very true, right? I think it's about how you recover. It's about how you recover and accepting that not everything's perfect and it's not going to be. So
yes. Well, I'm so excited to have Deb here today. I do just kind of like a quick little introduction, but then I pass it over to you, Deb, to kind of lean more in and tell us more about who you are and your journey. So everyone, please welcome Deborah. Deborah has been an entrepreneur maven for 30 plus years. She's the founder of Mission Accepted Media and visionary behind the 262 movement. Through these projects, 1,000 women and men have spoken on their stages and authorized in her publications. Media impressions are in the millions, and this is just getting started. I'm so excited to dig in more, Deb, on what you do. We've had multiple conversations before this live, so I'm so excited to get the listeners to get to know who Deb is and kind of what you do.
Well, like you said, we're in the world of visibility and media. We really believe that. So for us, our mission is about creating sustainable platforms so that, we call it entrepreneurs, creatives, media, anyone, profit, nonprofit, anyone that has their deep mission inside. For us, we believe that if we create the right platforms and we have a large audience that can hear what they're saying, then it really takes the pressure off the entrepreneur, really takes the pressure off of having to just continue try to find ways to get out there and have people hear what it is that you do or read your book. So we create these platforms so they have sustainability, and it allows people to be more intact, allows them to spend more time doing the things that they love, whether it's spending time with their family, and it also avoids things like entrepreneurial burnout, which is a very real thing. So we create multiple different platforms, whether it's podcasts or radios or live radio or magazines, summits. We're very, very well known for our summits. You talked about how, we've had 1,000 speakers on our summits. We've had 1,400 speakers in the last 3 years on a number of summits. A collection of those are International Women's Day summits. Then we have summits for authors. We have summits for people that want to teach workshop. And then we take those summits and turn them into TV episodes and put them up on our television channel, which is the Women's Channel. And I always like to say this because sometimes people think, oh, it's just for women. It's for women and those that support women. So basically women and cool dudes that have something to say that's going to help the betterment of the lives of women and cool dudes. And so giving people just an opportunity to be on TV where they may never have been, or that kind of thing. So that's what we do every day, all day.
I love it. Maybe you can share with us your journey and how you got started, because I know it's been a journey. So I'd love everyone to kind of hear how you started, because I know you're also a mom.
Yes, I am absolutely a mom. I'm a mom of 2 really great humans doing good things in the world.
Yes.
I started my entrepreneurial, I was very involved in the music industry, and I started my entrepreneurial journey in my 20s. And my son is 22, if that kind of gives you a gauge of how long I've been playing this. And so I actually really originally decided to leave music and go get a degree in women's studies and religious studies and create economic platforms in third world countries. And as I was going to university, I had this really great wanted surprise, which is my son's older sister. And And I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter, which changed the trajectory of going to university for 4 years. And instead, I went to go get a muffin from a muffin shop that was gluten-free and sugar-free and dairy-free many years ago. There was only one store, and I was pregnant and I wanted it. And it was just coming across an incredible flyer that talked about holistic healthcare and holistic massage. That changed my direction.
Mhm.
And that direction took me in a really different path, not only just holistic medicine, but I have a bit of a Rubik's Cube brain. I'm told people call me a professional hippie. So even in my world of holistic health, I created direct sales companies so that women around the world could make economic changes for themselves. So that's kind of always been a really big theme. I was in the holistic health industry for a very long time, built direct sales companies, supported direct sales companies, had a coaching practice for people that were starting businesses and becoming entrepreneurs, which I still have today. I mean, that's just probably one of my favorite things to do. But starting this media company was honestly, I woke up, I don't know, maybe a dozen years ago. I try not to gauge too much in terms of time,
Yeah.
but it was about that. And I heard the message very clearly to start a podcast. Now I want to kind of give some perspective. I knew two people that had a podcast. What is there now, like 4.5 or 5 million
Yeah.
podcasts? There was not a dozen years ago. I don't even know if Rogan had his show a dozen years ago, but it
Oh.
was a really bizarre concept. It was like I knew what one was, but barely. And I'd
Mhm.
been an entrepreneur for a long time at that point, and I'd been pretty active. I mean, I was, my chief marketing officer, and I built 7 companies. So it wasn't like I was adverse to knowing what was going on in the world, but I thought, oh my goodness. And then literally within a few days of that, if you want to call it download, I call them non-negotiables, that I
Yes.
started to think, why am I going to be building this and who am I going to be building it for? And I thought, I know I'm going to build it for entrepreneurs. I mean, that's been my whole life. And that kind of kicked off the media company. And then I got a call from a colleague that said, I woke up this morning with this download and this message. And I'm like, don't call me. She goes, no, no, no. I got a message to call you and you need to put together with me an anthology. And neither one of us knew what that was. And I believe we put the first anthology together for women in a certain business sector in Canada many years ago. And that kicked off this whole company. So now we're a very full service media company, right? We do everything, including, building out someone's TV show if they want. But it started
Mhm.
off with me waking up. And honestly, I was traveling around the world. I was teaching brain health. I was talking to people about natural aging through lymphatic and compounds. I mean, that was my world. I was opening
Mhm.
up Australia and what have you. And then I woke up and heard start a podcast, and I had no idea it would be the beginning of, a dozen years of
I love
deeper, 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 more media. Mhm.
I love that. Was your daughter first or the second then?
No, my daughter is 10 and a half years older than my son.
Okay,
I
so
always say my son took his time. So
yeah,
she's older.
yeah, because I always say like my daughter, 'cause she's my first, was kind of like the life trajectory of like how I like moved in the world of like something better and into
Hmm.
entrepreneurship. So I always say like she's the one who quote unquote saved me, and then my son is the one who reminds me to have fun in life because he's such a character.
That's a really good way to put it. It was interesting for me when I had my daughter because it was also at a time where there wasn't a lot of people becoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right. And it was really interesting to navigate at a time where it would seem more difficult to start a business with a baby, like literally. But then I found it really freeing because I was able to, for both my children, be able to do the things that, I wanted to do, like go to the pumpkin patch,
Mhm.
and, be the class this or help out at school here or all those things because I did have my own time. It doesn't mean I worked less. It just means I worked different hours. So if I'm taking the day off to go to the pumpkin patch, for example, I might be coming back and going to work or what have you. But she was my first entrepreneurial motherhood experience where it was, I mean, I remember, you know, when I was doing, so I had a holistic health center and we did massage and she
Yeah.
was still nursing. So I would nurse her. And then, I had someone take care of her and take her to the park and play and come back 2 hours later and we'd have lunch or we'd do this. And I was able to maneuver my day around it. It took some creativity, but it definitely was not very common.
Yeah. No. And even yes, entrepreneurship is more common today, but like just like for I think COVID helped us kind of realize how much we want the flexibility a little bit more in
Mhm.
life. Because if you look in different cultures, sometimes the flexibility is already there. Like there's some places where it's okay to go have a nap if you work a 9 to 5, or it's okay to go do, I don't know, pinball or whichever to have that break. But here in our culture, it's very like the 9 to 5 grind is like what we like to say. And
Yeah.
so just changing the mindset. And like that's why I started Creative Dynamics, is to help moms work from home, caregivers to work from home. Because I think it's really important for us to have that flexibility lifestyle, but then still grow our career paths and be and step into the true passion that we really want to step into as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting how not only have things changed, but the world's changed. Like
Yeah.
not only, if we changed, or I don't think that we wanted different things than maybe, my mom needed to go to work at a certain stage because she became a single mom, and and the expansion of resources. Like I think now to the resources, even my son is 22. He started his business well, he announced at 12, got serious at 15. So he's been, and then he launched at 19. So he's been in this world for 2 years. And I even look at when I'm coaching people now about their business,
Mhm.
and the same thing about, the media piece or the social piece or the advantage of what we have, or what we have in terms of resources, or you can get grants and funds. I mean, there's just so many different things that each generation brings to the table that allows us some more accessibility.
Yes.
I still think it's tough. I still think there's things to learn. I still think there's, you know, but it is definitely much more acceptable to balance the play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm excited to see what the next generation has to offer, really. And I always say, like, the way of the world is entrepreneurship. I really do believe that. Uh,
Mhm.
and I'm like such an advocate too on like when there's employers that are like, oh, all I'm like, have you ever thought about a subcontractor?
Yeah. Yeah.
Switch, but unfortunately, there's that notion of people thinking a subcontractor, they don't want to be lifelong. And it's like, no, no, no. We just want to make sure that we are tapped more into our own control as well. So it's like the happy medium, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I It's interesting because for the most part, I've had staff pretty well since the beginning of my journey.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, it's, fractional, right? I have a fractional CFO and a fractional
Mhm.
CMO, and there is some beauty in that. And then I've been sharing with some people that have been doing that for a long time too. There's also a lot of beauty, and maybe because I have multiple people that do multiple things, I love how we get together on Tuesday and there's this big creative brainstorm. And I think the one thing that I do miss, because I used to have a staff and we all be doing massage and what have you. Now everyone was contractual, but when we got together and we had these creative brainstorms because we were in the same environment, there was something really beautiful about that I thought was very advantageous to a company and advantageous to the staff as well. They had, I think, deeper senses of relationships with each other.
Yes.
Instead
Yep.
of you do this and I do this, and they're not kind of tagging off, there's more friendship. I know I took my team to Mexico, not this
Mhm.
year, but last year, to just be in the same space with each other. So
Yeah.
those relationships could build. For the most part, I'm 100% very cool having fractional people, but there is that, if you can find a way to get them in the same space,
Yep.
or even do something socially fun. I thought about that as well. I thought maybe I'm going to bring in someone that does, singing bowls to a staff meeting, or like something like that to gel everybody together.
Yes, I love that. I met
Mhm.
somebody, she owns like a marketing agency. A majority, I would think there's only 2 employees, but everybody else is subcontractors around the world, some in the Philippines, some in Canada and the
Mhm.
US. And what she would do would meet kind of like in Mexico and bring everybody there on a yearly basis. So it would be like their team infrastructure and get together and get to know each other a little bit more in deeper realm than just in the
Mhm.
virtual landscape. So there's different ways that you can definitely tap into it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think because the mission of the company is so important,
Hmm.
right? Like And I think it's important for everyone in your company to buy into that mission. Like it's got to be something that resonates with them. For me, maybe not everybody. We're in the movement business, right? Like, we do, like, everything is about support and movement and exposure and access and permission granted. I was just talking to someone getting hired to go speak on International Women's Day at a different women's event. And she's like, what do we want to talk about? I go, how about permission granted? How about
Love
permission granted?
that.
And it's, yeah, good, right? And I said, so that's kind of for us because our mission is so mission based. It's
Mhm.
important, where maybe with some companies it wouldn't be as important that everyone, serve or have an understanding or in agreement. But then I'm also someone who runs a company that believes in energetics. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Maybe, do you want to tap a little bit into that?
yeah, I think that, it's like when you have two people that are on the same page, I mean, if you have your partner in your life, whoever that is, whoever your spouse or your partner, and when you're both on the same message, or you both believe in that same philosophy, or you
Mm.
both think the same about something that's important to you or your family, whether it's how you train the dog, to what schools your kids go to how you have conversations around
Yeah.
around different holidays, around, like, those things that matter. For me, the thing that matters is the mission of the company.
Mhm.
We're going to stretch ourselves to make a better world. I mean, that's our philosophy. So if we're all stretching, we need to know why we're stretching. We need to know what's making us uncomfortable and why we're pushing for growth. And we've grown pretty quickly. It's like 1,400 speakers in 3 years. That's not that, I think we're on our 32nd summit. That's a lot of summits in 3 years, right? So
Mhm.
when you're pushing yourself like that, there has to be something, for me, that you're holding on to that's mission based. And we have meetings about that, like, hey, let's not forget about the mission. How can we make sure that that stays in our marketing? And how can we remind people here that this is all about empowerment and access? And I think energetically,
Mhm.
if you are tapped in,
Mhm.
then um, first of all, it makes for happier people,
Mhm.
and it makes people feel fulfilled. I think as when people are working on fractional accounts,
Yeah.
right? You're having to put on lots of different hats, and you might not be as engaged.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like if you're, how I like to see it too, if you're in a very toxic work environment, say, or in a very toxic friendship or whichever, that energy is just it's draining. It brings you down.
Hmm.
So if you bring yourself back up with the people that are very passionate about the mission, very passionate individuals, it brings that energy back up.
It's true. And also you can play off that with each other,
Hmm.
right? Not everybody's going to be having a great Monday.
Yes.
Right. We have our staff meetings on Tuesday. What's going on for everybody?
Yes.
And when you're tight like that, you start to get more into what can be going on personally. It's not like people have to share what's going on personally, but we start to get to know a little bit about each other's lives and
Yep.
where we can lean in. And it also helps bridge that when we know, we're like, okay, something's going on over here with this person. The other team, because we know that the mission is important, we
Mm.
all step up to back her or him up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
Hmm.
and I think you can even just see that in organizations too, that, well, I have personally, maybe you can touch on this, but I've coached and consulted with different businesses, and the businesses that are still alive today are the ones who are like true about the mission that they have in place, and the passion too, that
Hmm.
encompass it all. And then the ones that I've seen that they've had to revisit, repivot, or now they don't even exist, is because I think that they weren't as like passionate and really driven on that mission. That's just what
It,
I've come across.
yeah, I think that, sometimes people think it's archaic to,
Mhm.
like, when everyone we started businesses, it used to be, okay, you really need to have a mission and a vision statement. You don't hear those things even on summits, or when people are
Mhm.
talking. It's right. You need to, you've got Simon talking about your why, your company's why. And that's important. But I think for me, there's my why, and then
Mhm.
there's the mission.
Yes.
And it's
Separate.
and those two things together, because if you're going for it, there needs to be something like that's where getting together every week or getting together every quarter, or where are we at this quarter, like really evaluating evaluating just gives you an opportunity to revisit what it is that you said that you wanted to accomplish. And where I think mission, what pops up for me is yesterday we were in a meeting and my son is in fashion and art and streetwear, and he's 22 and he's a fashion designer, and the clothing that he chose to have made is expensive. This is not 20-year-old merch shirts at all. I mean, I would say more than 60% of his clientele are over 40, 45 that want really cool looking clothes that has value and it's quality. And we were talking to someone yesterday that wants Ocean, that's my son's name, to come in and do some retail in their outlets. And I said, okay, well, let's have that conversation about quality, because it's okay if there's other clothing that's going to be there, and it's okay that they're different, but this is the price that we have, and we need to have this price, because we were talking commissions and what have you. And I said, it's very expensive. I mean, it's expensive when you make decisions like that, when you go organic and when you go 100% cotton and when you go made in an ethical factory. And if those are your values, and those definitely were the values that he wanted to build his business on, it's not as easy.
No.
It's not as easy. So we had that conversation about, if we come in, this is the price that the shirts have to be. This is the commission you have to take. We can't do this because then we're giving it to you for free. And it does make a big difference. And then Ocean's been offered before, he's been offered to go with less expensive quality. And he was like, 19. He's like, well, Mom, we could make more money. I go, let's ask the question to ourselves again. What is the company name? It's called Natsukashi. What is Natsukashi? Good memories, good feelings, nostalgia, something that lasts forever in your closet. That was what you said you wanted, someone to be able to have it 20 years later. And he's like, oh, yeah, right. So we were able to bounce off the mission or the name of the company, and it made that decision easy. Because in a pinch, that's whatever the situation is, in the pinch, it's easy to sidestep a little bit.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I've been doing this coming on to 9 years, which is bananas. It feels like you forget after the 1 year, you're just like in it. But I just remember the last few years, I was feeling a bit kind of not in alignment, best way to put it. And I just didn't know why. And really, it was at the end of the day, it was because some of the consultants that I was working with, putting things in my ear that just didn't understand the vision or didn't understand really the true passion behind what I was trying to build, to the point where some people are like, oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? And then those are the people that you're trying to work with, bounce ideas on, and thinking that they're your work besties. And then you kind of get thrown backwards a little bit and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And so this last bit, I would say the last year and a half, I've been trying to do more in alignment work and figuring out, okay, going back to the why sometimes is the simplest step to do is, what's your why, and what's the mission? And then sometimes you go back up again, because sometimes you do get filtered off the track, and sometimes we need to go back to the simplest pieces.
Yeah, I think it's normal. It's normal in life. And when you have the more moving parts that you have in your business,
yes,
right? The more moving parts. And if you have I don't think Ocean was going to go with that hoodie that was less expensive. But he was like, hey, this doesn't feel too bad. And if you don't have someone reflecting back, he just happens to have a mom that was reflecting back. I'm like, this is not the same quality. This is not what people are expecting. We've already built a brand around quality. This is where, you have companies that break off and do different brands, right? I said, this isn't going to work. And then just having that, he was like, I don't know, 19, 20, 21, whatever it was. But sometimes you need to have that reflected back to you. And that's why I think reflection time needs to start with, what am I doing? Because there's so many things that we can do. And I try to filter my decisions that way now, right? We get lots of opportunities and we get asked to do all sorts of things. And it's like, does it fit? Does it fit?
And those are good questions to have and just kind of ponder and I think we as entrepreneurs, we're just we don't want to work the 9 to 5, but sometimes we end up working the 9 to 5s and some. extra hours I was just starting up. And then sometimes you kind of get lost in your own brain. So it's good to have those conversations with other people, even your partner, whoever
Mm-hmm.
that is, or a really good friend who might not even know entrepreneurship. Just having and just different conversations to kind of get through the weeds, because sometimes we get stuck in the weeds.
Yeah, I think that it's important to have, so I'll say two things on that. One
Yep.
is I have this philosophy. Um, One is know your support circle
Mm-hmm.
and know your success circle. So your support circle, so for example, my girlfriend is going to come over tonight and she wants to go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's just starting her entrepreneurial journey. Um, we have two different philosophies in relationship to goals and what have you, but
Mm-hmm.
she's my friend. She's the person that I would consider support. She's going to cheer me on from the sidelines. I have to be cognizant and be careful to not ask her advice about my entrepreneurial world because it's not fair. And
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say to myself, why am I asking someone advice if I'm going to make a decision based on it when they've not been where I want to go? So I
Yeah.
have this philosophy around don't go talk to, don't ask your bank manager about what you should do in your marriage. That's
Yeah.
not their specialty.
I
So
like
I always say
that.
if you're going to go get business advice from somebody, because sometimes people are like, oh, even if you're hiring somebody for an hour or 90 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to help you get the right answer for the right situation to be able to help move you. Then, the YouTube library or the, not to say anything against YouTube, not against anything Google or chat or whatever it is, but I always say if you're really needing something in your business, it's worth just investing that bit of time or having a coach like yourself, Brittany, because it will save you so much. But just be careful, particularly in startup or when you go into a new phase of growth. Like, yeah, we've been around a couple of decades for sure, but it doesn't mean that I won't be in startup in 5 weeks from now as we build out a new division. You drop back down into startup.
Yeah.
And so then that's where you need to go find your expertise and
Mm-hmm.
pay for it, earn it, do whatever you got to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been doing creative dynamics now for, like I said, 9 years ish. But I'm also like in the side pockets trying to create like a non-for-profit. And I've never been in that realm before. So it's like, okay, I have my business plan, I have all these things. What's next? Because I've never built a non-for-profit before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got some great people I can refer you to that
Amazing.
live in that world and do very well and love what they're doing. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. But that's just kind of like, just to put that in more in context
Yeah.
terms for anyone listening, like it doesn't matter what stages you're at. You can easily have a great idea and want to go and restart something or pivot somewhere, and it's
Mm-hmm.
startup phase. So yeah, no, I love that. We're
Yeah.
already at half the time. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness.
I'm just going quickly because I was going to ask you a question, but before we get into
Yeah.
that, we're midway into the show. For those just tuning in, welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, and we're live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 in New Orleans. It's a mouthful when you're talking super fast.
You
Yeah,
gotta let people know where, that are supporting the good stuff.
yes. I was going because I know you the last time we talked, and I thought this was really interesting. And I really want to make sure we take a moment to talk a little bit more about it, about how you tap into using celebrities, because you use a lot. You've been to the red carpet, and yeah, tell us a little bit more behind
Yeah.
what you do
Yeah.
there.
Well, I have a philosophy and there's two things around. I'll answer that question. I have a philosophy. And that philosophy is if you see value for your
Mhm.
business or your product or a lot of people will use influencers. And as soon as you flip to the word celebrity, they go, ooh. But really, I believe the concept of influencers did start with people that people knew their name.
Yeah.
People saw them in shows, people saw them on the stage, people went to their concerts, people went to, so, George Clooney selling, Nescafe or whatever the coffee brand that he likes to sell, right? That's really not an uncommon thought. And it works. Why it works is because if you really like that person or there's something about them that you adore, I mean, my gosh, I'd love to have Sandra Bullock, in the next
Mm,
262 book. I just think she's super cool
I love her.
because we love who they are as people. We love their movement. We love their words. We love their impact. So having celebrities, there's two ways to look at it. I
Mhm.
always say, if you feel like you want your business to move quicker. So let's again use my son for example, because he was 19 when he started. And I was like, we can go the slow route with you. You are in fashion, you are in streetwear, and you're not a known brand.
Yep.
Let's face it. So we're going to do the organic growth stuff. So go to trade shows, get Instagram, all all the marketing plan. But I can also pick you up and go put you on a red carpet and I can move you quicker. Now, someone might say, oh, that's because, he's got you as a mom. That's not the case. There's
Mhm.
lots of people I take that are Ocean's age and I'm not their mom. But you can go make a bold move. And
Mhm.
I believe that differentiation is one powerful way to excel out of the noise. So I had a client and I have a client and we went for dinner last week actually. We're walking up and she's like, Deb, I'm in such a thick environment, right? I call them heavy environments. And she's like, she's in health and wellness. And she's like, I really want to break this health and wellness. Everyone are turn around. Everyone's got their own division of health and wellness and they always will, right?
Mhm.
Um, and she's trying to break into corporate speaking, health and wellness. I mean, those, you know, this is not unique. She's
Yeah.
like, if you could give me one piece of advice, what would it be? And I go, you have to do a massive differentiation move.
Mhm.
So she'll probably come to the Oscars with us. There's a show that's going to be in Vancouver that's releasing. She's looking at going, I'm like, come into the reality show that's going to be shot in Vancouver. There's something that is going to stop people and differentiate. Now, people would say, I'm gonna use an example of a sleep coach. So Joanne is in Ireland. And she was like, I need to break ground. First of all, she's a sleep coach. No one thinks that they need a sleep coach. She works with top performing entrepreneurs that they don't think they need anything,
Mhm.
some fuel. And she goes, I need, I need something. I go, come to the Emmys. Just come to the Emmys. She's like, what would going to the Emmys do for me as a sleep coach? I go, oh, honey, you are going to learn the power of association. Where
Yeah.
you pick yourself up and you put yourself in a situation like that, then first of all, you're vetted and everybody knows it. You're not getting on that floor without a double vet. You have to be good at what you do. You have to be quality. We have to trust that what you say, and like there's a whole vetting process. This is not just like, going to a local market.
Yeah.
I said, so everyone knows that you've been vetted to be there. Now you're going to be getting pictures with celebrities. Now you're going to be giving your book to celebrities. Now you're going to be giving to your hat to whatever it is that we do. We're actually just working on the hat for the Emmys and 2 minutes ago before I talked to you. So when you do that and you have that, it says something. It says that you are willing to take risk. It says that you believe in yourself. It says you
Mhm.
believe in your product enough that you're going to get up and you're going to speak up and you're going to buck up. Let's face it, it's not like doing some social media. You're going to make yourself different. Well, I'll tell you what happened. So she came to the Emmys, the pictures of this, that. She went home and then we all get together as a group and we do an ask party a couple times a month. It was the following week. Ask is you can ask for anything possible that you want in your life, business or personal. So she's like, my ask is I need help. We're like, oh, okay, what do you need help with? And she goes, ever since I've come back, if I go to an event, I get cornered in a room. I can't get out of the room. People are asking me questions. My inbox is full. People want me to speak and people want me to this. And so what happened is she flipped from experience of going out and finding business to business coming to her and she didn't know what to do with it. I
Yeah.
said, okay, great. Now we're going to teach you the power of, no, of the word no. And so that's an example of what can happen for just everybody that does everything, because this assumption that you have to already be a celebrity to go hang out with celebrities is not true. And so
Mhm.
that's where I say, if Oprah's not calling you, just pick yourself up and go to where Oprah would go. That's my answer to that.
I love that. Amazing. I
Hmm.
going to jump on that because you mentioned too reality TV. So
Hmm.
share a little bit more what you do there.
Yeah. So, well, this is going to be the first place that I'm going to share what's going on. So there's, I know, right? I mean, it's always great to be on both sides of the camera if you can. That's why
Yes.
people like to be interviewed. And I will say that if anyone wants to be on TV, they can just pop on and speak on our summits, and we'll take your presentation and edit it and put it up on the women's channel for you, which is a
Amazing.
really nice way to be able to be presenting on TV, to get that initial TV piece. But there is a reality TV show that's happening right now. And I don't know how much they're out there in the marketplace, so I'm going to keep it a little vague.
Okay.
But what it is, if you're familiar with the show The View,
Yes.
where there's four people that are bringing in people to interview. Well,
Mhm.
imagine that being 8 women. Now, they don't have to be entrepreneurs, but because of the big, how can I say, the big, all the B-roll, all the media that's going to be happening around all the episodes. This is
Yeah.
very attractive for women that want to get exposure on their business, for sure. I mean, I'm even pinching myself. I'm like, wow. Um, so basically what they've done is they wanted to do a show that was all about the positive aspects of being a woman and
Mhm.
lifestyle aspects. So those, when you're listening to The View, they're talking about everything. They're talking about their life, they're talking about their perspective, they're talking about their opinion, they're talking about kids, they're talking about family, they're talking about health, they're talking about hormones, they're talking about business, they're talking about everything that they're talking about. They're talking about their views, world views,
Yeah.
and having this really great conversation. And it's those conversations that we have with our girlfriends that we leave and we're like, we feel more intact. And
Mhm.
so Rhonda, who, I mean, Rhonda, Rhonda and her husband, who are very versed in the world of TV and everything else. I say this because like his bio is like incredible.
Amazing.
They decided that they wanted to do something very similar to that. But again, if you look at the shows where there's lots of like whether Beverly Hills, Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, it's not like Housewives of Beverly Hills. The concept of that franchise is that they're in different locations. So
Okay.
from that concept, so there's St. Louis has already been shot. They're shooting San Francisco as we speak. At Emmys week when we're in LA, they'll be shooting the Emmys franchise, and then they're coming to Vancouver in November. And I am presently looking for women that want to be sitting on that couch having conversations. They'll come here, they'll shoot like 13 episodes, and then it'll be seen on prime time. It's a really big deal. It's a
Yeah.
really, really big deal. Really, really incredible opportunity
Amazing.
to be on TV. Yeah.
Amazing.
Hmm.
So funny. My one of my good friends was always joked with me, being like, "You should be on TV. Your life is like a TV show."
Yes, you should be. We should be having a conversation after our show today. We definitely need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You would love it. You would love it.
Amazing. Well, that's amazing. I love that. I love like my like live TV shows. Like I just love them. And like even though we had like a bumps in the road of the radio show to get started today, I told you I'm like I love it because it makes you think on your feet more.
It does. And I think that, when things like that happen, when you're together, you know what I mean? We're like, we got that. We got this.
I
There's,
love
there's always bigger things. People say that to me. They're like, so many things happen. And I'm like, I have a really, like, I have a baseline. I have a baseline in my head. Like, if this didn't happen today, super good.
Yes,
Super good.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you wrote a book,
Mm.
and Joyce actually just messaged me being like, I didn't know you know Deb. Joyce Ingram.
Oh, that's amazing. Joyce Singer. We were just talking about her yesterday because, of course, we're talking about this show that's going to be shot in Vancouver. I was talking to Carmel Ecker, who is a
Yes,
good friend of Joyce, and Carmel does our production for our show. So,
I know Carmel too.
yeah, I bet. We definitely have to have a conversation after this conversation. But
Yeah,
in terms of the book that we've done, like you're talking about that big book that we've done?
yeah, because I think that's the one that Joyce was in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have a few coming, so please share.
Yes. So the book that actually kicked off this big International Women's Day
Hmm.
whole summit, the whole project. Yes, I've done many books. I'll say we support authors. If someone's an author out there, me and we're super happy to help you in your world of having that book be seen by the world because that's so important, right?
Yes.
Authors aren't necessarily marketers, and so if there's any way that we can do to help keep people's books alive, we do, including the books that we do for ourselves. So this book of 262 women which let me tell you, came as a download message, what have you, when I was 31 standing in a bookstore and frustrated that a book that I wanted to purchase that had beautiful pictures of women, it was my day book that I used every year, was out of print. And I frivolously said, I'm going to do one of these one day. Well, a few years later, that turned into a book of 262 women. And the whole idea around this book was to highlight women, and the
Mhm.
criteria was gumption. That's
Mhm.
it. It was gumption.
Oh,
And so we had women that just basically, it was a full cover spread. You know, when you open up that magazine and you got that gorgeous full cover spread, I'm like, okay, it's time to rise. You know, I stand up, speak up, and show up has been the mission statement to my company, my first company when I was 20s. I talked about that. I said, this is going to be the stand up, speak up, and show up legacy piece. I've been talking that for a long time. So women wrote a column of who they were,
Mhm.
not anything to do with their business, just who are you? And then what do you do? Profit, nonprofit. You didn't have, doctor, realtor, whatever you did. And then the other big piece was, why do you do it? Like,
Mm.
who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? A beautiful black and white picture. No headshots were allowed. Our tagline was no headshots. It had to be a beautiful lifestyle picture. And it
Mhm.
had to have, like, we made it that grainy kind of black and white feel. It was a beautiful hardcover coffee table book. And I remember saying to the compiler when this was all getting put together, I said, we're going to do a 5-year book tour. And she said, Deb, that is financial suicide. Do you think you're JK Rowling? What are you doing? And I said, we need this book to breathe. I'm
Yes.
not doing like a book every year. I go, this book needs to breathe and we need to take it around the world. I didn't know that while I was building that book, a year later, I would get another message about creating all these summits for International Women's Day. And so this book went from going into concept, and the summits came into concept, and we closed the book and announced it and took it to market on Mother's Day 2024. And
Mhm.
it presently right now is sitting at 6 million media impressions and has been in
Mhm.
everything from book launches in castles in Ireland to
Wow.
we were just up in Kamloops,
Yeah.
a couple in June to events in Vancouver. It's been given at 3 Oscars gifting suites. We're going back for our 3rd Emmys gifting suite. So the women in the book are part of this collective that's created
Mhm.
this energy of giving permission, permission granted, and for women to borrow bravery and just stand up, speak up, and show up, whatever that means to them. Doesn't mean you have to go change the world. It just means that maybe you learn something about boundaries. But these are
Mhm.
women that have done it and are doing it. And we've just literally opened up the door for the next 262.20. And I'll tell you, it took a lot of really inner work on whether that was something that I wanted to do, because it's a 5-year commitment.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's a 5-year commitment. So right now we've just opened up for conversations of people that want to be part of the next book,
Mhm.
which will launch March 8th, 2028. 26.2 will launch on International Women's Day. And it's incredible. Like, yes, a lot of entrepreneurs are attracted to it because it's a marketing piece where they're going to be in the world for 5 years, but it's
Mhm.
also a really cool piece of personal development to be
Yeah.
part of a collective of women that are thinking like-mindedness,
Mhm.
and it's just created a really beautiful sisterhood. So when people, it's so funny because people are like, oh, there's the 200, it's 262, like it's a slang thing now. And
Yes.
even though we've had 1400, people speaking, it doesn't matter, Bernie, it's not going to matter when we're up to like 5,000, or, we've had, what is it, almost 900 million media impressions on
Oh,
the
yeah.
summits. No
Yeah.
one cares. It's like, there's the 262. So yeah.
Well, I
Hmm.
remember the number in my head. So,
Yeah, it's a good number. It's a good number. So that's another thing. We'll have to get you in the 262.20. It's so beautiful. So Joyce is
yeah.
in the 262, and she just did the most gorgeous photo shoot for that book, and it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Joyce is my biz bestie. We do workshops together. So we do trauma with money workshops. So she talks about the finances
Ooh,
side and I talk about the trauma. And we work together. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that to you. So we kind of
no.
do workshops here in the Victoria area, and hopefully maybe something virtual, because it's been a lot of requests to do virtual because a lot of people can't come from the island if you're up to like Campbell River-ish. So yeah, no, Joyce and I have been working on this for some time, and so
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I just adore her. And it's funny that you know Carmel as well, right? Carmel, I talked to today. We'll be shooting 2 podcasts because Carmel comes onto our show and she writes all our show notes. And we're doing a super cool Gen Z 3rd year running for my son and another. I don't want to say kid because he's 22 years old. Like they're not kids at 22,
Oh,
but who's a DJ. And we've been following their friendship and their entrepreneurial
oh,
world. So we're going to be doing their third. Yeah, we'll be shooting that today. But I think that's so great. Our
yeah.
world is small, and you guys definitely need to be doing something virtual because those are 2 topics that people need to be able to have access to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually I'm doing a mentorship for Beautiful. So it's a foundation for um, girls ages 6, I believe, and up
Okay.
to 14. And so I've been just talking to them about like Joyce and I coming in to do like the trauma and the like sometimes it's kind of tricky for like depending on the age range to talk about
Yeah.
trauma, but more about the money and like the entrepreneurship piece. So yeah.
hmm Well, even, I think that age, it's about, I wish, not that I'm saying I didn't have good friends in my life, but even being able to talk about, you know, those are the years that if your girlfriend says, I don't like your jeans, or you know what I mean? Like that can feel like trauma, right? That can really affect how you feel about yourself that day. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I remember me and my daughter, we're quite close and we'd go shopping together and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just love this. And she's like, I don't know. And she wasn't being mean. I just honored her opinion so much. And at one point we're like, okay, look we have 2 different tastes. So
Yeah.
we're not going to say anything to each other. But I do think that there's, things that happen in a young girl's life that,
Mhm.
if you can give someone some esteem or, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, we're going to be digging in. We're not doing, they just messaged me recently. And so I just got all this stuff in order. But this one's going to be confidence building and then leadership. So I said I'd talk about, I think leadership and confidence go hand in hand, but I said I'll talk on the leadership as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because for someone who's just so quiet and like I can lean into my stir of being very quiet and shy and like scared to be that voice. So yes, it ties into the confidence, but like a natural leader, what does that look like? And or like you can grow into leadership too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
we'll
and I
see.
think there's lots of really great fundamentals there, even financially, right? Like
Mm,
the peer pressure to go shopping and spend the money with your, whatever, wherever your girlfriends are spending the
mm,
money, or and to be that one person that's, I can hear Joyce in my head, putting your money aside and
yeah.
building something for yourself or that. Yeah, that'll be amazing.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we have social media at our fingertips and kids younger who don't quite understand how to separate the two of the noise
Mm-hmm.
that's going on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can see it just in the data of like I'm such a data and stat girl, but
Yeah, no, it's
just
good.
how social media has affected a lot of young individuals in that kind of mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I think I told you, but I'm an imposter syndrome coach. And one of the stats I love to bring when I do my workshops is that imposter syndrome can show up as young as age 6. So we need to start like really digging into how the imposter syndrome shows up for us at such a young age and as we get older and how it just the negative noise just get kind of wrapped into it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great.
Yeah. Well, we're almost what time? We have 10 more minutes.
We have 10
Um,
more minutes.
yeah.
What do you have any question left that you think that people want to hear about?
I know we mentioned at the very beginning about burnout. Did you have any kind of conversation? Everyone I've been talking to this year, I feel like the economy has just been a very interesting economy
Mm-hmm.
in a
Yeah.
recession. I think we've been in a recession for some time ish, but everyone says that we are in a recession. But I would love to hear your take on burnout and what it kind of, if you've ever experienced it, any kind of advice for anyone who might be listening.
Yeah. I think that it's a very vast topic, burnout is. And you're talking to someone who owned a preventative health center. Um, if you can, take a look at the life you live without all the shoulds. I should exercise. I should this. I should that. I should eat better. I should just take a look at what is. Just take a look at what is, because more than likely you're probably doing the best that you can. Honestly,
Mhm.
you know, you're probably doing the best that you can. I mean, I know what it was like. I mean, I had two children 10 years apart. I've been in parent land for a very long time, right?
Mhm.
So I had my son in my, you know, I had my daughter in my 20s and I had my son much later.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm still parenting. So what is it that your life looks like now without and ask yourself, what do you need? What do you need to do for yourself in relationship to your output?
Mhm.
Because look at, as someone who's a creative and started building businesses in their 20s. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times people, particularly back then, I don't think people say it so much now. You should just really do one thing. You should focus on one thing. And
Yeah.
I hear it now. People look at my website and they say to me, legitimately, they're like, "Do you ever sleep?" And I go, "Well, I don't do all of those things every day, and I do have a team." And instead of justifying it to myself, I just go, "No." And they're like, they go, "Do you sleep?" And I go, "Like a baby." But I sleep well because I take a look at my life, and instead of trying to take away from the things that are naturally
Mhm.
me,
Yeah.
they're naturally me. I equate my kind of like my program, or if I'm going to live like this, if I'm going to work these many hours, if I'm going to dance between two kids of 10 different years, one wants to go to Maplewood Farm and one wanted to go to Aritzia, right? So if I'm going to be, and if I had a marital status change, and if I want to bring people onto my business, and you know, I've been in business long enough to see lots of different economies. I always say sometimes it's rice and peas, sometimes it's steak and lobster. If this is what I'm choosing to sign up for, then I need to choose my health and wellness in relationship to how I'm living, not how I think I should be living.
Mhm.
So does that mean that you go to bed at a certain time? Does that mean that you turn your phone over at a certain time? Does it mean that you, like right now, I'm getting up and I'm meditating before I grab my phone? Did I do that 6 months ago? No, I didn't. But I just found right now that's what I need and that's what I want.
Yeah.
So how much time am I spending with people? Like all of these things matter. What are you listening
Mhm.
to? I listen to positive stuff every day.
Love.
Music keeps me alive. Every night, and when I say every night, I mean every night before I go to bed, I watch comedy. But I used to teach brain health. I know it's important to clear my day no matter what happened. And I
Mhm.
wake up the next day pretty fresh brained, ready for the day. I'm not carrying stuff over from the night before because I laughed myself to sleep. So
Mhm.
those are some of the things that I do. I am a nutraceutical person. I believe I am heavily invested in my nutraceuticals. I do have a drink right there that I've been drinking
Mhm.
all day that puts my body into an alkaline state. So I use high quality. That's where I choose to put my resources. So if it was the difference between really good vitamins that some people might call very expensive, then
Mhm.
going to Winners and buying some new pillows for my couch is fine. So I look at my body like it's the most important and the most expensive piece of real estate I have.
I love
Doesn't
that.
mean I don't get tired sometimes, doesn't mean that I don't get my butt kicked sometimes, doesn't mean I don't stretch myself too far sometimes. Um, doesn't mean any of that. It means that I've banked my odds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I think it's like really important to listen to yourself when you're in the state of feeling like burnout. Like
Hmm.
I'll use myself prime example. I just felt like July and August, I was like, you know what? Well, even just this year, I decided not to travel this year for speaking gigs because I pushed myself for the last 2 years traveling over to Vancouver. And I was like, you know what? For 2026, I'm proud of myself, what I've accomplished for 2025. But I think my body's telling me just relax for 2026, ride the
Hmm.
roller coaster, and maybe take the summer off, which I never do. You can ask anybody. I usually don't because I'm just like full feet, let's go kind of person.
Hmm.
Um, but I just had like this like gut instinct. I was like, my body's telling me just take the summer off, do the bare minimum, like work with the current clients I have and all the things in between,
Yeah.
and just enjoy summer, especially with the kids being small. They're only
Yeah.
going to be small for so long. So we end up pulling like my son out from daycare for August. And then my daughter's only going to be in camp versus the full summer, only 2 weeks kind of thing. So
Hmm.
which is so different. Usually it's like everybody's in their area so I can work. And this time I'm like, no, let's just go have fun.
Yeah. It's so important. It's good for the soul. I mean, and I think I can even tell you as our children get older, it's still like sometimes, someone's like, why are you working at your son's trade show for 12 hours a day for 3 days? I'm like, I want to hang out with the dude, and making time and accessibility for your family and having those moments. I don't think they ever really go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we're pretty much at time. Deb, maybe you can let everyone know how they can find you. You've seen at the bottom of our screen,
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
sharing your Instagram accounts and your LinkedIn accounts.
Thank you. Thank you. This is where I tell people to go find me because it has everything on there. So it's really easy to remember. My name's Deb Drummond. So if you
Yeah.
go to debdrummond.com, and here's what I say. There's different places. If you'd loved when I was talking about the speaking in the media, go to the 262 section. If you want to learn some things about top performance and training and good things for your business for a long-term scalable experience, go into the top performance stuff and take some things there. But
Mhm.
mostly, if you just want to have a conversation, I am open to conversation. And it's so interesting, right? Because people are like, oh, you're so, and we don't use the word busy, by the way, in our business. We call it abundant. So people are like, you're so, I go abundant. But if you actually drop to any of the pages on my site, there's a contact page there. And I actually have it bypass my team and go right into my email.
Yes.
Yes. And so I'm
True.
open to having conversations with people just about life or questions or, oh, you said something about red carpet. What's that like? Or whatever.
Mhm.
And then there's all my little everything along the bottom. So if you're an IG person or you're a LinkedIn person, there's everything there. But, don't be afraid to hit the contact and have a conversation and let's meet each other.
Amazing. And Terry Marie just said, love this. Got
Yay.
a comment.
Yay, Terry.
And then I know that you had maybe like a little giveaway or a gift, not a giveaway,
Yes.
gifts you
Yes.
have. Same thing.
Yes. So we have like a really cool package. I kind of like, when you go to an event and you get a swag bag. So I wanted to swag bag your people. Um, Joyce will know how much I do trade shows, and I've actually written a book about trade shows. And me and Carmel are actually shooting the videos to have successful trade shows. That's how I hit a lot of big numbers in Success Magazine. So we have a trade show sheet for people to be able to yield more and to be more successful. I also have a beautiful podcast video
Mhm.
on because people do podcasts and they don't really get the return that they think that they should through multiple podcasts. So there's a great video to watch that's going to help you in that. There's also a media information session with me. So come find out what your media score is. Most people are doing media and they don't really know what their score is. So there's some time in there with me. There's a free accountability class that they can come to on Monday. It's not free, but it's free for them to come set their week up in a top performance fashion. So come to a group, get some private, watch a video. There's a PDF there. So it's a little bit of something, and hopefully you can take it all or you can do one thing that attracts you. So
Amazing. Well, I'll
yeah.
have to go get that too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Deb, for coming on the show today. I know we had some hiccups at the beginning, but it was
Ah,
a lovely show. Can't wait to replay the show for others again. And
yeah.
thank you for all our listeners and Terry for the little comment there. And a big thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And come back next week. And I can't wait for next Monday. Thank you, everyone.